Somebody burned my mother's vehicle to the ground because they don't believe in her political beliefs. However, I was the one that was blamed for doing it, and now my entire family has cut me off. I promise I didn't burn that car. It doesn't matter if we don't agree with the same political stuff. I would not do that, but my whole family thinks I did. I never thought words could burn like gasoline. But that's the thing about words spoken in anger. They ignite something you cannot always control. My mother and I were never going to see eye to eye politically. I'd accepted that much. She'd gone from being the woman who taught me to question authority to someone who seemed to consume Facebook conspiracy theories like oxygen. Every conversation somehow twisted into politics. Climate change wasn't real, electric vehicles were liberal propaganda machines, and anybody suggesting otherwise was part of some grand scheme to destroy America. I tried setting boundaries, I really did. Mom, can we just have a dinner without discussing the latest outrage? I would plead, stabbing at whatever was on my plate while she ranted about how they were indoctrinating children. And they changed depending on her mood, sometimes teachers, sometimes the government, sometimes some shadow cabal that she would read about in a comment section. When she bought that Tesla Model 3, I thought maybe, just maybe, we found common ground. An environmentally friendly purchase seemed like progress, something we could both appreciate for different reasons, but no. It was not about reducing carbon emission for her, it was about the status, the technology, the prestige. Oh, it's American-made excellence, she would say, giving tours to neighbors who had not even asked for it. This is what innovation looks like when the government stays out of the way. The irony that her purchase benefited from substantial government tax incentives was not lost on me, but I kept my mouth shut. Peace was worth more than being right. Until that Thursday night in November. She'd insisted on driving us to a family dinner at my aunt's place. 20 minutes into the drive, she starts in about welfare, buying steak with food stamps, and I tried changing the subject 3 times before she hit her stride, her voice getting louder as she worked herself into a familiar frenzy. You know what I saw at Walmart yesterday? A woman with designer shoes using EBT. Designer shoes? Meanwhile, I work 60 hours a week to afford nice stuff. Your generation just doesn't understand what it means to earn something. My patience snapped like a dry twig. Mom, you have no idea what that woman's life is like? Maybe those shoes were a gift. Maybe she saved for months. Maybe, just maybe, she lost her job recently. You don't know her story. Oh, here we go, always defending a freeloader. She jerked the steering wheel harder than necessary to change lanes and said, "This is why the country's going to hell. Everyone's so concerned with feelings instead of facts." "The fact is you don't know what you're talking about," I said, my voice rising to match hers. "You spend your whole life judging people from inside your $60,000 car that you got with government subsidies, but God forbid someone on assistance buys something nice for themselves." She slammed her hand against the steering wheel and said, "Don't you dare bring my car into this. I earned every penny." You're so obsessed with that car, but you don't even care about what it actually represents," I said with heat rising in my face. "Maybe somebody might just, turn your precious car to ashes and see if you still worship it then. Maybe then you would have something real to be outraged about." The silence that followed was absolutely deafening. I watched her knuckles whiten around the steering wheel with her jaw clenched so tight I could see the muscle twitching. When she finally spoke, her voice was quieter than I'd ever heard it. "I don't even know who you are anymore." We didn't speak for the rest of the drive, and during dinner we performed our roles, passing dishes and making small talk, but everybody could feel the tension crackling between us. My cousin Ellie kept shooting me concerned glances, but I avoided her eyes. After dessert, Mom announces she was going to Walmart to pick up a prescription before heading home. "I'll get an Uber," I told her flat out, and she said, "Suit yourself." She grabbed her purse and keys and left. Well, I was just playing some Call of Duty Warzone with my headset on full blast for 3 hours that night, trying to drown out my thoughts with gunfire and tactical chatter. I just logged off when my phone exploded with notifications. 3 missed calls from Ellie, 5 text messages, then the last one said, "Call me now, Mom's car is on fire." My stomach dropped to my feet. I called Ellie immediately. What happened? Is Mom okay? She's fine. She's fine. She was inside Walmart when it happened, but for her Tesla, it's completely destroyed. Someone set it ablaze in the parking lot, and... What do you mean, someone set it ablaze? The police are saying it was definitely arson. Somebody doused it with something and then lit it. They're reviewing the security footage now. Listen, I need to ask you something, and please do not get mad. Where were you tonight after dinner? Are you serious? I was playing Warzone. Checked my match history. Like I do every Thursday night. You can check it. PlayStation activity, you know. Oh, I believe you. It's just your mom told me about your fight in the car, about what you said. You know, set her car ablaze. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was figurative of speech, Ellie. I was angry and I didn't actually mean it. This is insane. You can't possibly think I had anything to do with this. Well, I don't, she insisted, but something in her voice told me that she was not entirely convinced, but the police might want to talk to you. She was right. 2 police officers were knocking at my door the following morning. They were professional but thorough, asking about my whereabouts, my relationship with my mother, and the argument that we had. I showed them my PlayStation activity log, demonstrating I've been online from 8 o'clock until 11:47. The fire started at approximately 9:30, according to a witness. It's just an unusual coincidence, the older officer stated, closing his notebook. Your mother mentioned you made a specific threat regarding her vehicle being set ablaze, and less than 2 hours later, that exact scenario played out in real time. It wasn't a threat, I insisted. It was a stupid thing I said in anger. I would never actually do that. They seemed satisfied with my alibi, but warned me they might have additional questions as the investigation continued, because just because my account says I'm online doesn't mean I was the one playing. What they didn't tell me was that my mother had already shared our argument with not just Ellie, but the entire family. By that afternoon, my phone was blowing up with messages, some concerned, others accusing. My uncle was the one that said, "Whatever problems you have with your mother, destroying property is not the answer. This is not about politics." Grandmother, I'm praying for your soul. This isn't how we raised you. Destroying a car just because of your political beliefs? From my aunt, your mother is devastated. I hope you're happy now. I tried calling my mom, but she didn't answer, and I texted Mom. I had nothing to do with what happened to your car. I would never do something like that. Please call me. No response. The days that followed were a nightmare. The police questioned several people who had been at Walmart that night, but could not identify any suspects from the security footage, which was grainy and only showed shadowy figure approaching the car shortly before the fire started. No clear evidence pointing to anyone specific. I remained under a cloud of suspicion, not legally, but definitely socially. My mother refused to speak to me directly. Any communication went through Ellie, who tried her best to remain neutral but was clearly affected by the family drama. Thanksgiving came and went without an invitation to the family gathering. Christmas approached and I received a card from my mother with a gift card inside but no personal message. January arrived, cold and bleak, and I'd stopped trying to defend myself. What was the point? My own family had decided I was guilty without evidence, and at work, I went through the motions, came home, ordered takeout, Panda Express, my favorite, and lost myself in the video games like Delta Force or Call of Duty or streaming shows, anything to avoid thinking about the mess my life had become. It was a random Tuesday in February when everything changed. My phone pinged with a text from Ellie that said, Have you seen this? It's everywhere. She included a link to a TikTok video that had gone viral overnight. 846,000 views. The video shot from an apartment overlooking the Walmart parking lot. The same Walmart parking lot that was oh so familiar, clearly showing 4 people, teenagers by the look of them, approaching my mother's Tesla. One carried what appeared to be a gas can. The footage was surprisingly clear, capturing them pouring liquid on the car and lighting something and then running away as the flames erupted. The timestamp in the corner matched the night of the incident at exactly 9:28 p.m. Found this on my old phone. said the caption. While clearing storage, these kids torched a Tesla at Walmart back in November. Already sent this to the police. Hashtag arson, hashtag Tesla, hashtag justice. I watched it 7 times in a row, my hand shaking. There it was. Proof I had nothing to do with the video had already been shared thousands of times, with comments speculating about the identities and why they would do this, expressing outrage and the senseless destruction. I forwarded it to my mother with a simple message. Now do you believe me after you cut me off for nothing? Hours go by. No response. That evening, a detective called to inform me that they've identified 3 of the 4 individuals using facial recognition. They're pursuing them. He apologized for any inconvenience that the investigation might have caused me, adding that I was officially no longer a person of interest. Though, to be honest, your alibi checked out from the beginning. We were just covering the bases. I understand. I thanked him and hung up, feeling hollow. The exoneration I desperately wanted for months felt meaningless now. The damage had been done, and my phone rang the next day finally, but this time it was just Ellie again. Mom saw the video. She feels terrible, everybody does. Uncle Mark wants to have a family dinner this weekend to sort it out. Make amends? Make amends? After 3 months of treating me like a criminal, they were wrong. But they're family. People make mistakes, but this was not just a mistake. This was a fundamental betrayal of trust. My own mother had believed I was capable of a vindictive, destructive act of violence, all because of one heated argument about, well, politics. Not once in months that followed had she given me the benefit of the doubt. I'll think about it, I told Ellie before ending the call. I didn't go to Uncle Mark's dinner. Instead, I sent a group text to the family. I'm glad the truth finally came out. I need some time to process everything that's happened, so please respect my space. A week later, a card arrived in the mail from my mom. Inside was a check covering 3 months of my rent and a handwritten note that said, I'm sorry, I didn't believe you, I love you, Mom. I stared at the check for a long time before tearing it up. This wasn't about money, it never had been. Eventually, we did talk, a stilted phone conversation where she mostly talked about her new car insurance and how the police had arrested 3 teenagers for the arson. She didn't directly apologize for believing I was guilty. She didn't acknowledge how the family had ostracized me. It was as if she wanted to skip past the painful part and go back to normal. But there was no going back. Something fundamental had shifted between us. When someone shows you who they really are, who they think you really are, you can't unsee it. It's been 6 months now, and we talk occasionally, exchange bland text messages about the weather or her garden. She invites me to family functions, and sometimes I do go, performing the role of dutiful child while feeling like a stranger. I watch her interact with my cousins, laughing and casual, and wonder how she can compartmentalize so effectively. Sometimes I catch her looking at me when she thinks I'm not paying attention. A sad, searching look I can't quite interpret. Is she looking for signs of the monster she thought I was? Or is she mourning the relationship we once had? I still don't have the answer to that question. What I do know is that wounds can heal, but they leave scars. The scars between my mother and me is a constant reminder of how quickly trust can burn away and how hard it is to rebuild from the ashes. I don't hate her. Some days I even understand her reaction, the shock of such a violating crime, the eerie coincidence of my angry words, the natural human tendency to look for patterns and assign blame. But understanding does erase the hurt. People keep telling me that time heals all wounds, that family's too important to hold grudges, and maybe they're right. Maybe someday their scar tissue between us will soften, but I don't think our relationship will ever be the same. Even if one day I do forgive her. Guys, this is why you don't talk about politics with your family. Someone might just turn your Tesla to ashes.